What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another roster review. EA just released their February roster update for NHL 23. You could call it the January roster update. It came out yesterday evening at like 6 p.m. But if you guys want to download this, go over to More, click on Rosters, Active Roster. Click the most recent one, which of course is January 30th, 2023. So once you have that downloaded, all you gotta do is click A. You'll be good to go. Next, you guys kind of want to run through it with you, give you my thoughts. Again, there hasn't been a roster update for a while, so it's actually a pretty big one. Tons of players going up, tons of players going down. And for the first time, I think ever, they've actually added X Factors in this roster update. I think in my last video I mentioned how that's something they never do. Well, they finally proved me wrong here a couple months later. There's some guys that have just been tearing up the league. Probably should have had an X Factor to start the season. When I say that, I mean a zone ability. Now they finally do have one after continuing to play well. But start off here, guys, the Anaheim Ducks, one of the worst teams in the league. I got Troy Terry there, down by 1 to 87. I think it's honestly just kind of more accurate for him anyways. After that, Klingberg's down 1 to 85. I think Strom here is also down 1 to 83. After that, I think Max Jones dropped by 1. He's now an 80. If you look at McTavish, though, he's actually up 1 to 81. Definitely should be medium elite, in my opinion, opposed to high top 6. Yeah, you guys can see Max Jones there, only a 79. But, I mean, for the most part, you know, the Ducks aren't playing well, so I feel like a lot of those downgrades are deserved. The Coyotes next year, just a few changes. Chikrin's actually got a +1, now an 86. He's been playing really well since getting back from injury. Moser here's got a +1, now an 82. I don't think I'd go any higher than that for him, though. After him, you got Michelli, who's actually, you know, having a pretty good rookie season here. Pretty much only a playmaker, doesn't really score many goals, so you can see, okay, never mind. He's got 84 passing. I feel like he should have 87 passing. And the shot, his shot is, like, better than his passing. And the guy's a total playmaker. I'd have to look at his stats right now, but I think something like, you know, 4 goals and 20 assists. So that's a bit of a weird one. That's when sometimes, like, when you actually look into the stats, not just the overall, they don't make sense. Bukestad here actually got a +1, now an 80. Gunther got a +1 up to a 79. I feel like, you know, that made more sense for him anyways than a 78. And then Hayton here also got a +1, now 79. And next, you guys look at the best team in the league, the Boston Bruins. David Pastrnak's now a 94. I think he's a really good player. I feel like 94 might be a little bit crazy, though, on him. You can see there, 97 passing. Again, I don't know, he had 37 assists last year. Does that warrant almost perfect passing? Now, the shot definitely should be really good. I don't know, I think 94, though, is a bit crazy, maybe. You got Marchand there, 92. McAvoy's up by 1, now a 90. Not only do I think McAvoy deserves to be a 90, he should honestly be higher rated than that. So EA's still underrating him, even after upgrading him, I think, in the last 2 updates. You got Krejci there now an 85. He's played pretty well since returning to the NHL. Pretty impressive, too, at 36 years old. DeBruskler's up to an 84. He's played well in the top 6 this season. Carl's up to an 84 as well. Low top 4 for him is a little bit strange. After that, I think the only other change is Craig Smith actually down to a 79. I feel like Craig Smith being a 79 might be a little bit low. He should probably still be at least like an 80. Like, I think he's actually on their first line right now. It is what it is, though. Buffalo Sabres up next. So the Sabres got a ton of upgrades. I gotta look at the list here to kind of go through them all. First things first, Dahlin, only now a 91. He got a +1. He's also got the Send It zone ability. Before now, he just had like the regular X Factors. You guys can see his stats there. I think Dahlin's a very good defenseman. Do I think he deserves a 91 already? I think that's a bit too high. Below him, Tage Thompson there, now a 90. He also got given a zone ability. You guys can see there, they gave him puck on a string. So that one there, exceptional toe drag, stick handling speed. I don't know. For me, Tage Thompson probably should be like 1T because he's really good at that. Or maybe Big Rig. He doesn't even have it here, but maybe Unstoppable Force. I feel like that's probably more like, you know, what he excels at the best. You could have puck on a string as a thing, but I think his best thing is kind of just that 1T or just, you know, his drive to the net using that 6'6" strength. After him, pretty much the entire team got upgraded, I swear. Alex Tuck's now an 86. He got a +1. And I actually see they gave him the Wheels X Factor. So he got given an X Factor as well here. Wheels X Factor, but still 86 speed. So, I mean, they added the wheels because they know he's actually fast, even though they always have him slow. But they forgot to actually boost his speed. That's kind of funny. Also, too, Unstoppable Force there. That's when I said I felt like Tage Thompson should have great strength to the puck. If you watch him play, like, it is so hard for guys to get the puck off his stick. For me, that'd be his zone ability, if not 1T. Skinner there, also up to an 86 now. Cousins 85, he got a +1. Oh, and Power 84 got a +1 as well. I'm trying to remember if he had those X Factors or not before. They might have given him some X Factors too. So really cool to actually see them adding X Factors in this roster update opposed to just doing the ratings. After that, you got Millsat also getting a +1 to an 81. Asplund dropped by 1 to an 80. Let's see. Paterka there I think was already an 80. Now medium top 6. Samuelson got a +1. He's now a 79. He should probably be like an 80, 81, especially with that contract. Otherwise, he's like ruined in franchise. I think Bryson could probably at least be an 80 as well, and definitely higher than low top 6. Krebs here, they're also boosted by 1 to a 78. Same with Jack Quinn. I feel like Jack Quinn honestly should probably have medium elite potential. Like, dude was drafted 8th overall, and then I think he's actually not even shown here, but Hinestroza down to a 77. They dropped him by 2. Again, Buffalo have been, on a bit of a tear here the last couple months. They get a ton of upgrades. Calgary Flames up next. So Jonathan Huberdeau got a -2, now an 89. I traded for him in fantasy with Nasher. Definitely regretting that one. I thought I was buying low, and, he has not really been producing like he did last year. 115 points. He's not even a point per game this season, so I think it's just kind of the guys he's playing with in Calgary. Definitely should still be a very good playmaker. 89 is also still like a high rating. I think that's probably fair. I would have him like 89, 90. No longer, though, like in that 91 to 93 range. Anderson here actually got a +1, now an 87. Kadri got dropped by 1 to an 87. Bigger there, no change, but he should be higher rated than an 86. Mangiapane dropped by 1 to 83. He's obviously not producing as much, but I think he's still a good player, like really good shot, good defensively. I'd probably sell him at 84. After that, Dubé there got a +1, now an 81. And I think that's it for the Flames. Yeah, it is. So the rest of the ratings there, no change. You can see at least Pelche, though, now in the NHL. Now moving on here, guys, the Carolina Hurricanes. No change for Svechnikov or Aho. Svechnikov should definitely have the skilled up zone ability, like the one for scoring the Michigan. He did it twice in 1 year. I don't understand that. Nietzsche's their 88. Was he already 88? I think he was. So, he gave him a big boost the last update. Brent Burns there got 1, now an 87. Should probably have some X factors. This one's kind of strange to me. Pacioretty, they dropped from 87 to 86. He came back for like 3 or 4 games before he got injured. Didn't look bad or anything. I think he actually did pretty good. So, I don't really understand dropping him. Maybe because he'll never play hockey again, but at that point, just wait till that announcement comes out, then make him like a 70 or whatever, and basically LTIR'd. Teravainen also dropped by 1 to 85. He hasn't been doing as good this year, so I think that's fair. Look at the rest of the guys. Gardner, I might have as like a 70, just kind of, I don't think he's going to play hockey again. We'll see. Kokiniemi there dropped by 1 to an 81. Stastny also got dropped by 1. I think, Chatfield here, he got a +4 boost. I mean, when you're playing regular minutes in the NHL, he should be at least a high 70s, so that makes a lot of sense. Nosen there, I think, got a +1 as well, and that's it for the Hurricanes. Next, you guys got the Blackhawks. Kane here actually got downgraded, now a 91. They had him way too high right at the beginning of the year, because I still think 91's too high for Kane. He should probably be like a high 80, because he is still nasty. Like, yeah, puck skills, all 96. In my roster, it's all 99. The defensive awareness, though, at 87, stick checking 90, is too high. Also, too, his shot, like, Kane's got a good shot. It's not perfect. Like, 97 wrist shot accuracy, that's a little bit ridiculous, I think. And I think the only other changes here, guys, on the Chicago Blackhawks is Athanasiou got dropped in rating by 1. He's now an 80. Take a look at his speed, 90. He could definitely be faster. Also, to Taylor Radish, was he an 80 before? I feel like that's a boost for him, unless it happened the last roster update. And then Jack Johnson here got dropped by 1, now a 79. And now next year, guys, we're looking at the Avalanche. That top 3 is so ridiculous. McKinnon, Makar, Rantanen. Like, you can just build pretty much any team around those guys. Speaking of Rantanen, he's actually gone up by 1, now a 93. It's still weird to me that the Snipers got tape-to-tape zone ability. It should definitely be like Snipe or make it snappy. I don't really understand that one, but, I think 93 for him is probably fine. I'm not sure if I'd make it any higher than that, though. Also, too, if you really wanted to, you could make his position now right wing / center, because when McKinnon was out there for a bit, they had Rantanen playing first line center, which was kind of funny. After that, I think the only change, Lehkonen, now an 83, up 1 from 82. Blue Jackets here, guys. Gaudreau actually got downgraded by 1 to 89. I don't think that was deserved. I think he should have stayed at 90. Like, I just double-checked his stats. He's about a point per game right now, and that's playing on a Blue Jackets team that's not very good, and it's also just riddled with injuries. I don't really understand dropping Gaudreau. I feel like he's done kind of everything he could. In terms of other drop players on the Blue Jackets, I think it's just Cole Sillinger, who we'll see later. They've actually got a good amount of upgrades, though. More so like a lot of their younger players, so all of these guys here are the same, but we go down to Ken Johnson there. He's got a +1, now 81. Chinikov there, no change. Let's see. Bemstrom's a 79. Sillinger, like I said, actually dropped by 1. Blankenberg's up to a 78 and medium top 4. I feel like he's actually done a pretty good job stepping up here with like the Blue Jackets defense that's filled with injuries. Time at the end of last season after having a solid year from Michigan. He's already 24, but like he doesn't look too bad out there. Marchenko as well up to a 78, medium top 6. He, of course, second round pick back 2019. Danforth there, 76. Bather there, 76. I think that's kind of all the rest of the changes for the Blue Jackets. Peterson there, they actually picked up off waivers. I will say the Horvat trade did not go through yet in this roster. So I'm guessing they probably finished it like a week before, then has to get like approved by EA, Xbox, whatever. Now next year, guys, on Dallas, you got Jason Robertson up to a 91. He's having a career year, so definitely well deserved. I feel like you can definitely throw some more X factors on him. Rupe Hintz, they're also up by 1 to an 89. I feel like if you're an 89, you should definitely have a zone ability, but Good to see EA finally putting some respect on his name. High elite potential as well, so that's kind of nuts. Only has 2 years left to grow, but before I think it was high top 6, so that's big. Heiskin there is also now an 89. I feel like Heiskin could be a 90, also could have high elite potential on him. Pavelski, Sagan, Ben, no change on those guys. Let's see, I think some of the younger guys. Guryanov here actually dropped by 1 to 81. Should not have medium elite. That should definitely be low elite at most. Delandria there up to a 79. Same with Nils Lundqvist there. Same with Wyatt Johnston. A lot of younger players there on Dallas stepping up, playing well. So I think that makes sense. I'll look at the Red Wings now here, guys. So I'm trying to think. I think Bertuzzi here dropped by 1, now an 86. So Hronek here is up by 1 to an 87. Also, they give him medium elite potential. I don't know if that's a mess up. That's a bit too crazy for Hronek. I like him. He's a good player. 87 medium elite. That's too much. I think, in my opinion, 85 or 86, high top 4 makes a lot more sense. That's a bit too much recency bias. That's as a Red Wings fan. You gotta be realistic. You gotta look at like the last 3 years. That's kind of, I think, how you get the most fair rating for a guy. That way, you can kind of account for the ups and downs. Bertuzzi there dropped by 1, now an 85. I don't think you still have all those X factors being 85. Like maybe just, give him 1. Perron there also dropped by 1, down to 85. I feel like Kopp should have been downgraded to 84, but he wasn't. After that, I think Kubalik also could probably be like an 83. He definitely slowed down since the start of the year. Sherrod could probably be an 80. Maybe being too tough on my team. Jonathan Berggren, though, huge upgrade. +4, now an 80. Well deserved. He's played great since getting called up. I think you could maybe make him a playmaker, but yeah, I think he definitely deserved to be like a 79, 80. Suter got downgraded by 1. He's now an 80. And I think Wallman here actually got upgraded to a 79. He's played a lot better on Sider's pairings. Made Sider play well too. So I think most of those make sense aside from, like I said, Hronek's a bit too high. And I think, definitely could have dropped a couple other guys. And now next year, guys, look at the Edmonton Oilers. So this is big. McDavid's now 97 overall. Highest rated player of the last, I think, decade, EA said in a tweet. Also, too, he's got the high franchise potential there, which I think he had before, but if not, finally gave it to him. So I'm very curious to see the defense awareness on him. 94, okay, so that's not terrible. Obviously, it's got to be high. I don't know why you wouldn't just make the offense awareness 99 at that point, then lower the defensive. Also, too, you can make his hands perfect. He's already pretty much perfect skater there. Honestly, I would bump his strength before I bump defense awareness to make it a bit more realistic. But yeah, Connor McDavid, 97 overall. The dude's an absolute beast, so well deserved to be that rating. I think after that, you got Nugent Hopkins here up to an 87 now. He got a +1. Same with Zach Hyman. Hyman 87, no X factors. It's a little bit strange. Tyson Barrie's now an 85. I think Barrie's a really good puck-moving defenseman, but 85 overall is way too high. Speaking of defensive awareness, his is a bit too high there. After that, Yamamoto here dropped by 1 to 80. Same goes for PRV. Also, they still have him as a medium elite. He should definitely be low elite. Costin there got a +1, now at 79. I like that, although I would have him at medium top 9 potential. Holloway probably high top 6 potential. Broberg also got a bit of an upgrade, now at 77. So overall, I think the Edmonton ratings make sense. Matthew Tkachuk here, now at 92. Believe he got a +1. Also, he's franchise potential. That's pretty nuts. For me, Tkachuk, I would still have high elite. I think franchise potential I want to keep for kind of the top 5 or so players in the league. And as good as he is, I don't think Tkachuk quite makes that list yet. After that, Montour here up to an 86. I think Montour 86 is a bit crazy. I think 84, maybe 85 makes more sense for him. Again, there's a lot of recency bias. And I know there is a 1-year game, so maybe that's the whole point. But for me, I like a 3-year scale, and I think it just kind of gives you a better accurate rating of guys. I almost missed him, but Forsling here, he's up to an 84. He definitely deserves that. Could even be an 85. I think he's a very unsung, solid defenseman. As I mentioned, Hornqvist down by 1. Same with Colin White there. Potential should also probably have dropped. I think one more guy, not Mark Stahl, Eric Stahl, they actually boosted a little bit. He got a +1 up to a 78. So you can see Giovanni Smith now on their team. Same with Fitzgerald, I think. They got off waivers. Now the LA Kings are up next, guys. I think they had the least amount of changes. Kevin Fiala is now an 87, up by 1. I think they also gave medium elite potential. I think he had high top 6 before, so definitely good to see him gain some respect. And then Sean Durzi here actually got a +1, now an 83. He's played well for them, so I don't really think you can argue that. Again, no other changes there for the Kings. I guess one thing would be, yeah, you can see Quick 82, Copley 81. So actually Copley did get upgraded. I'm sure I'll see that in the goalies, but wanted to check that quick. I'm curious to see what Peterson is in the AHL. Now look at the Minnesota Wild next here. They also didn't really get many changes, just a few minor ones. Let's see. Greenway dropped by 1. He's now an 81. Addison went up by 1, so he's now an 82. Obviously, he's been playing pretty solid here in his rookie season. And then there's one other change. Connor Dewar there, up to a 77. And now, as I mentioned earlier, guys, you don't want to just look at players overall. It's really important to kind of look at their individual stats. So Mason Shaw, for instance, I want to show you guys. 90 discipline on him. If you want to just have some fun, look up how many penalty minutes this guy averages. How he has 90 discipline, I have no idea. But moving on now, guys, the Montreal Canadiens. Nick Suzuki here actually dropped by 1, now in 87. He definitely cooled down a bit after the hot start he had to the season. Still, though, immediately potential. Coughlin, of course, injured, so good thing they didn't touch him. Doc there, high top 6. I think that's what he had before. So you got Sean Monahan, 82. I don't think he got touched. I want to say that's a bit too high rated for Monahan, especially kind of compared to other players. Duran, 81, I also think is a bit high on him. So Edmondson here got dropped. He's now an 81. Hoffman got dropped to 81 as well. Gooley got a +1, now an 81. I think he could even be higher. Anderson got dropped to an 81. Gallagher got dropped to an 81. Dadonov's now a 79. I don't think Dadonov's that bad. I'm honestly not sure how he's performing this season, but like 43 points last year, 79. Again, I think Dadonov 2 overall below Duran. Duran's got like no points this year, so I'd have to look at Dadonov's numbers. After that, you got Slavkovsky, still 78 high elite. I think he should be medium elite. I think that's a bit too much. Jack guy there, though, got an upgrade. Now is 77. I think that's it for the Montreal Canadiens. No changes there to a lot of the lower-rated guys. And now next year, guys, look at the Nashville Predators. Another team with really not too many changes to make sense. Like, it seems like all the teams that are kind of like in between playoffs and tanking not really have too many changes being made to them. The first one here, Granlund dropped by 1, now an 84. Trennan here, I believe, down by 1 to an 80. Janot also down by 1 to a 79. After that, though, you actually got a pretty big upgrade, if I can find him. Parson got a +4, now a 79. I mean, he got called up. He's actually played pretty good, so that was well-deserved. 75 was too low for him. Thomas Novak there also got an upgrade, now a 77. Now look at the Devils next year, guys. Jack Hughes finally has his own ability. You can see there, elite edges, so good to see them give him that. You can see, too, he's very fast, 92 speed, 94 excel and agility. So, yeah, finally Jack Hughes there. Getting that zone ability, one of the better players in the league, highly potential, well-deserved. I think he also got a +1 and now a 90. Actually, sorry guys, Hughes was an 88 before, so he got a +2. I can't believe he was that low rated. Dougie Hamilton here got a +1, now an 89. They also gave him some X Factors. He had 0 X Factors before, which is kind of crazy. 1T, Thunderclap, Tate to Tate. I mean, obviously he's an offensive defenseman, although they haven't listed two-way there, so that's not too bad. Again, really cool to see them adding the X Factors. Nico Hischier here as well, same rating, but he had no X Factors before, so they give him elite edges there, big tipper, born leader. Really cool to see them kind of being more liberal, I guess, with the X Factors, not being so stingy. After that, let's see. Siegenthaler here got a +1, now an 83. He's one of the better defensive defensemen in the league, so I feel like he could have even higher rating. I mean, look at that, 90D awareness, at least they did get that right. Let's see, keep going on. I think Dawson Mercer there got a +1. Yeah, he did. He's now an 82. Miles Wood actually dropped by 1 to an 80. Zetterlund's up in rating by a bit, now a 79. Let's see, Smith's also up in rating by a bit, now a 78. So, Devils obviously playing really well. Definitely deserve those rating boosts. And as I mentioned, guys, the Islanders are kind of like a team in the middle, so they didn't really have a lot of changes. The first one here is actually Scott Mayfield up to an 82. He's too old for the potential to matter, but he's definitely better than high 7th D. Beauvillier, who obviously got traded, down by 1 and 81. Bailey also down by 1 to 81. Good thing there's only 2 years left on that $5 million contract, because that's a lot to pay. Beauvillier as well, like, kind of got out from under that contract in getting Horvat, which is why I really think, you know, the Islanders got a good trade there. Assuming they make the playoffs, and if not, obviously they can just kind of retrade him at the deadline if they need to, if they're just kind of clearly not making it. And then the last change here, guys, to the Islanders, Sebastian Aho, actually up to a 79. Also, guys, Aatu Räty here now is 74. He's been playing in the NHL, so that makes sense. I know we did, like, the trade sim. He was a 67, so pretty big overall upgrade, like 7 points there, but still lowly potential. Next year, guys, with the New York Rangers, I see Adam Fox, franchise potential. I don't think he had that before, so that's big. Now, Chris Kreider is down by 1 from an 87 to an 86. Condre Miller up to an 84. He's been having a solid season, so I think that makes sense. Also, guys, I almost missed him, but Philip Hiddle here up to an 82. After that, I think VC got a +1 to a 78. Krasnov here got a -1 to a 78. And even though he's not shown, Sammy Bly's actually down to a 77. Also, too, as a Spitfire fan, this is really cool to see. Will Cooley there now in the NHL. Still only a 73. If he plays at least, like, 10 games, I think we can definitely give him an upgrade. Now, look at the centers next year, guys. Brady Tkachuk's up by 1 to an 89. Somehow doesn't have his zone ability. Like, to me, you definitely give him, I don't know, Total Eclipse, Big Rig, Crease Crasher probably makes a lot of sense. He definitely deserves one. Also, too, Tim Stützle. He's playing very well. He got an upgrade 86. Again, 3rd overall pick. He's another guy that should have his own ability, but at least it's good to see them making baby steps, trying to give a few more guys those X Factors. So those are the only 2 guys that got upgraded. Brancham there's down by 1 to an 80. Matthew Joseph also down by 1 to an 80. And I think the last guy that got downgraded is Dylan Gramble, now a 77. Up next year, guys, are the Philadelphia Flyers. Couturier has been out, so he hasn't been touched. Konechny there is up to an 87. Obviously, he's having a career year on a pretty bad Flyers team, so very impressive. Ellis is injured, so also not getting touched. I'm honestly kind of surprised to see Kevin Hayes didn't get an upgrade. Like, he's had a solid season as well. Got picked the All-Star game, only an 85. I feel like based on all the other ratings, they could have made him an 86. Cam Yorkillo got an upgrade, now an 83. He's been a solid defenseman for them. Joel Farabee here, though, was actually downgraded to an 83. You then have Owen Tippett, who got a +1 to 82. I'm trying to think. There's some other stuff here. Ristolainen, I want to say, was already an 80. Cates there might have got an upgrade to a 79. And Laurier got downgraded there to a 77. Also, two guys I missed him, but Morgan Frost got a +1 to an 80, and the potential change there from medium top 6 to low elite. But I kind of like him being low elite, honestly, just because there's really not a lot of those potentials in the game, so I don't mind mixing it up. Pittsburgh Penguins up next. Honestly, if you look at how good Crosby's playing right now at 35 years old, and you look at kind of the ratings of all the other guys in the league, I would give Sid a 94. I think he deserves it. I'm just going to kind of double check the list here. Yeah, Crosby did not get upgraded, but honestly, I think he could be a 94 at his age, playing as well as he is. He deserves it. So in Pittsburgh, only have a few changes. I just noticed Malkin doesn't have his own ability. Come on, EA. What are you doing? Whatever. Like, Gensel, I like. He deserves one, but he's 2 overall below Malkin. Like, doesn't make any sense. So Peterson there's got a +1. He's down 83. And then a few bit further down here, Heinen dropped by 1 to an 80. Joseph there up by 1 to a 79. Now take a look at the Sharks next. Erik Karlsson here. He's another player who's got his own ability now who didn't have one. The Send It definitely deserves that. Like, if you look at any Karlsson's highlights, his stretch passes, so good. It also gave him tape to tape. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of looks a little bit weird, honestly, having like the 1 zone ability and then just the 1 X factor. I think he's like the only guy in the game, honestly, with that. So, looking at his passing there, 94. It could be higher. Obviously, Karlsson having a resurgence here. I love seeing that. I think it's so much fun to watch. Now, Meyer here is also up by 1 to an 88. We'll see how much longer he remains a Shark. It would be crazy, too, if they traded Karlsson right now because he's playing so well. If they just, retain some salary, tape back like a bad contract that's like about to expire, I feel like they could get a huge haul. Now, the rest of the Sharks here, no too big of changes. Matt Benning, though, actually got a +2 up to an 81. So I feel like that's pretty good to see, like a journeyman like him playing well. Now, Luke Kunin here is down to an 80. He dropped by 1. Also, 2, I think they dropped his potential from medium top 6 to medium top 9. And then also, 2, Noah Gregor there is down by 1 to 79. And now next year, guys, look at the Kraken. They've actually had a lot of big changes. A lot of guys on their team having career years right now. Vince Dunn, for instance, he got a +2, now an 85. Matty Beniers got a +3, now an 84. It's probably going to be either him or Logan Thompson winning that Calder Trophy. He showed he definitely should have been an 81. Like, he's playing first-line center for the Kraken, doing well. He definitely deserved to be, like, in that 83, 85 range. So I think that's a perfect rating for him. After that, Bjorkstrand's actually down by 1 to 83. I think he's the only player on this team who dropped. Justin Schultz there up by 2 to an 83. Sprong also, I think, got a +3, now an 82. He's played very well since joining the Kraken, so cool to see. Colvin there got a +1, 82. Same kind of story. They get him off waivers from the Predators, and he's looked really good on Seattle. I think other than that, those are the only changes for Seattle. But again, a lot of guys just popping off for them this year. Now, the St. Louis Blues here, guys, are up next. Jordan Kyrou here actually got a +1, now an 88. O'Reilly got dropped by 1 to an 87. And it looks like they took away his X factors, unless he didn't have any. I see he has the quick draw. I swear he had the zone ability quick draw before. And now it's just a regular X factor. I mean, he's one of the best faceoff takers in the game. They could have still left that on him. Tarasenko also got dropped by 1 to an 87. And then the only other change is a very small one. See if I can find him here. Rosen there, up to a 77. Now next year, got the Tampa Bay Lightning. Kucherov here, up to a 94, so puts him on par with Pasternak. See, I think Kucherov I'd probably give the edge to over Pasternak, but still, 2 very, very good snipers. You can see he's actually got an insane shot there, 97 wrist accuracy, 97 passing as well. Kucherov's one of the best offensive players in the game, for sure. And now after Kucherov here, guys, you got Sergachev getting a +1, now an 87. I feel like they also add those X factors to him. They don't look familiar to me. After that, though, I think just a bunch of small changes on lower-rated guys. So Ross Colton there, I believe, down by 1 to an 80. Let's see. I want to say Nemestikov down by 1 to 79. Same with Maroon. Perbix here that was actually upgraded to a 78. Also, too, I missed him, but Nick Paul here got an upgrade, now an 82. And now next year, guys, everybody's favorite team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. So no change for Matthews. Mitch Marner, though, got a +1, now a 91. Also, 2, well-deserved. No longer medium elite potential, it's high elite. That's usually what I had it at. Nylander there also got a +1 up to an 89. Should probably have a zone ability, in my opinion. Michael Bunting there is up to an 83. I feel like he always should have been 83, honestly. After that, Liljegren here, now an 82. I say the potential, though, low top 4, that's weird. Like, that has potential overrated for the longest time at medium elite. I feel like medium top 4 is perfect for him. I don't know how it's now low top 4 that he's actually playing in the NHL. Like, that makes no sense. Justin Holl there is also now an 82, up by 1. Same with Razov Sandin. So, a lot of the defense there getting upgrades. I think the only guy on the Leafs who actually got a downgrade, if he's even here, Timmins as well, actually, I should mention, up by 3 from a 75 to 78. The only one that got downgraded was Wayne Simmons. Now it's 77. So take a look at the Canucks next here, guys. You got Petey, 90 overall, high elite. There's actually a +2 ratings boost for him. Quinn Hughes here also got a +1, now an 89. Horvat as well got a +1, now an 88. Also, too, they added some X factors to him. So before, I want to say he had Big Rig, Big Tipper, and Crease Crasher. So they added on Born Leader, X Factor, as well as the Quick Draw zone ability. Is Horvat's best thing his face-offs? Maybe, but I mean, considering how much he's scoring this year, I'd probably make it like, the Big Tipper or the Crease Crasher. JT Miller here actually got dropped by 1, now an 86. Kuzmenko there up by 3 to an 85. He was way too low rated before at 82. Considering how well he's been playing this year, you guys can see too, they've got that new extension on him they just signed. Brock Besser there dropped by 1 to 84. Same goes for Connor Garland. I feel like Ethan Bear there is probably still a bit too high rated. Oliver and Larson there got dropped by 1 to 83 from 84. Really sucks to see he's kind of lost a bit of his game there. And I think that's actually it for the Canucks. No changes to like more of the depth players. Again, Horvat trade unfortunately is not in, so you guys can easily do that though if you just go to roster player movement. Vegas Golden Knights up next. Kind of surprising, honestly. Jack Eichel down by 1 from a 90 to an 89. Kind of a strange one. After him, you got Shea Theodore here, up from an 87 to an 88. I think he should have been already an 88 overall, if not an 89, but it's just kind of weird that like there's been 2 months since the last roster update or so, and Theodore was injured for the better part of those 2 months, so I'm not sure if maybe like just they thought like I did and he was too low rated, so they're just playing catch up, because in terms of like the actual games played, he didn't have too many really to deserve an upgrade. Stevenson there, I think no change. It's actually all downgrades for the Golden Knights after Theodore, which is kind of surprising because they're playing pretty good hockey. Kessel there's down to an 82. I think after him, you got Nicholas Hague down to an 82 as well. And I missed him here, but Martinez also dropped by 1 to an 83. And I see too, they still have Nolan Patrick, medium elite potential. I think that's definitely a bit too high for him. I still would love for him to like kind of come back and like have a better career, but I think low elite would fit that perfectly. So still some work to do with, some potentials. But we got 2 teams left here, Washington Capitals. Kuznetsov, Oshie actually, both being dropped in rating. Kuznetsov down 87. I guess he hasn't really had the best season. Oshie as well, all the way down to an 82 there. And they got rid of all those X Factors. You guys remember he had 5 X Factors, which was a ton for like an 83 overall player. It really didn't make sense. Now he's got none. Now this is kind of the opposite way. Gustafsson here is up to an 83. I thought he was already too high rated, 81. He obviously has been playing a bit better this season, but 83 overall for him. I mean, there's a reason he's kind of like an extra guy who got signed for 800K. I don't think he's like a top 4 defenseman, which is what 83 overall represent. I think now maybe he'd be like an 81. And I think the only other guy who got changed on the Capitals here is Dylan Strome. Actually got a +1, now an 84. And lastly here, guys, we got the Winnipeg Jets. Only upgrades for them, no downgrades. The first one here is Josh Morrissey, now an 88. Obviously, Josh Morrissey having a career year this season. The thing with Morrissey is I feel like he was kind of already too high rated when the game came out. Personally, I'd probably have him more like 86, 87. Now, Nick Ehlers here got a +1 as well, now an 87. I think kind of the opposite for him. I would have Ehlers probably being an 88. I think he's just that good. Also, too, definitely give him a zone ability. After that, Dubois got a +1, now an 86. He's been having a solid season. I think he wants to get paid on that contract year. Low top 6 potential, I feel, has to be a mess up. I'm assuming it was supposed to be high top 6, and they accidentally just went 1 over because nothing else really makes sense. Personally, though, I would actually have Dubois with medium elite. After that, you got Cole Perfetti, now an 82. Again, he's a medium elite prospect for me. Those guys deserve X factors, but 82 makes sense for him. Dylan DeMello here also got a +1, now an 80 from 79. I feel like DeMello is honestly solid enough defensively. He could probably be like an 81, but the rest of the Jets there, no changes aside from guys getting called up. So next year, guys, we'll take a look at goalies, kind of give you the rundown, all the changes there. I feel like there's actually been quite a bit. All right, guys, we're starting off here with John Gibson, who dropped in rating by 2. I think this makes sense. Not only is the Ducks not playing too well, he's also not playing the greatest this year either. So I definitely wouldn't have him with 4 X factors still, only being an 86. After that, Boston Bruins, Linus Ullmark's down at 90. So that's pretty crazy. Obviously, he's got some of the best stats in the league. The thing is, how much of that has to do with the team in front of him? Personally, I think a 90 for him is a bit too much. I'm trying to see here. Yeah, he was an 88 before, and now he's a 90. I mean, if you look at his numbers before, like, they were pretty solid, but I don't know, like 90 just seems crazy to me. Like maybe I'm wrong, maybe he'll prove me wrong, but that just seems too high. Buffalo Sabres here, Craig Anderson's actually an 83 now. He's been playing pretty well for the Sabres. Lukanen 80, I don't know if he was that before, but he is now. Calgary Flames here, Jacob Markstrom's also down 2, just like John Gibson, now an 87. Because of that, he actually lost his zone ability. Still though, has 5 X factors. Now Chicago here, Mrazek's down to an 80. Colorado, Yorkie's actually up to an 86. He's been playing pretty good. Columbus Blue Jackets here, Korpisalo up to an 82. I think that's because he came in from Lincolns when he was injured. Dallas, no change. Detroit here, Husso actually down to 86 after being 87. again, like, they dropped Husso because he started playing worse, but, like, the Red Wings in front of him also started playing worse. I feel like goalie ratings are kind of too heavily tied to the team's success. Edmonton Oilers here, Stuart Skinner now an 84, Jack Campbell 83. So, personally, I'd probably have them the same. Either both be 83s, both be 84s, because, like, last year, Campbell was a lot better than Skinner. This year, maybe give the edge to Skinner, but obviously Campbell's got kind of a better resume. So, again, that's why I like to do the 3-year timeline. In terms of the Florida Panthers here, Bobrovsky down to 86. I think Spencer Knight, 86 overall, ready for him is way too high. I don't think he's really earned that yet, although I would have him at high elite potential. And after that, on the LA Kings, you got Jonathan Quick, who's down to 82. Phoenix Copley, though, up to an 81, as I mentioned before. Actually went and checked. Cal Peterson's an 80 overall now in the AHL. Minnesota here, Philip Gustafsson, actually an 82 at this point. Montreal, Jake Allen's down by 1 to 82. Montembeault, though, is up to an 81. Also, high star potential there, post to medium starter. And on issue, guys, you got Tristan Jarry and the Pittsburgh Penguins up to an 88. Kind of funny, though, they're actually in the goalie market. I've seen some rumors maybe they'll trade for Demko because Jarry's on an expiring deal, so they really don't know if they can afford him, whereas Demko's actually, you know, signed under contract. After that, on the San Jose Sharks here, Kakkonen actually down by 2 to 83. On the Kraken here, Grubauer's down by 1 to 81. I feel like he could have stayed in 82, but honestly, I think I would have made Jones in 83 because he's kind of emerged as a starter on that team with a couple other decent goalies, which is kind of funny. After that, St. Louis Blues here, Jordan Binnington got dropped again in rating, now at 83. That might be a bit low for Binnington. I'd probably have him like 84. The Maple Leafs here as well get some changes. Ilya Samsonov now an 86. I'm not sure what that medium lead starter potential, though. I'd probably have it medium starter. Murray there, 83. I feel like 86 for Samsonov's probably a little bit too high. I'd probably have him like 84, 85, Murray 82, 83. Again, a little bit, you know, too much based on like 25 games. Thatcher Demko, speaking of him, surprisingly dropped in rating by 1. For some context, guys, Thatcher Demko hasn't played a game in the last 2 months since December 1st, which is around when like the last roster update came out. So I don't really know the person doing the roster. They just don't like Demko, I guess. And then finally here, Logan Thompson actually up to an 85. I mean, he's like one of the front runners for the Calder Trophy. It's between him and Matty Beniers, so I definitely feel like he deserves that. So overall, I think, you know, most of them make sense. Some of them, like I mentioned, though, I don't really understand. Now, in terms of prospect ratings, I wanted to point out some stuff to you guys. For starters here, you got Olin Zellweger now on the Kamloops Blazers. They also upgraded his potential from high top 6 to medium top 4. I guess he earned that after his World Junior performance, being, like, traded for 4 first-round picks, whatever else it was. Also, too, if you look at Regina Pats here, Connor Bedard is now 80 overall with franchise potential. And if you look at the Windsor Spitfires here, Shane Wright, of course, is now on that team. Similar to Sikorsky, though, I definitely have Shane Wright with medium elite opposed to high elite. I feel like if it's high elite, he should be in the NHL right now, not, you know, playing back in juniors. Although Draisaitl did the same thing and became one of the top 5 players in the league, so you never know. As I mentioned, too, guys, Cal Pearson's down 80 overall in terms of goaltending. I wanted to show you Nedeljkovic here. He got dropped to the AHL, also an 80. Kind of funny, too. If you look at the AHL team, they got Verana there. Definitely, you know, some weird things going on in the AHL. I actually noticed Iowa Wild here. Samuel Walker, 24 years old, 72 overall, medium elite potential. This dude was drafted 7th round 2017. He played in college. I forget what team, but like his last year college wasn't even a point per game. This year in the AHL is actually a point per game. That one still seemed kind of weird to me. Tobias Bjornfoot there, down to a low top 4. That's kind of weird. He should probably be like medium top 4 still. And then, like I mentioned, Cal Peterson down to an 80, buried in the AHL. In terms of some of the prospects that are like going to go high in the draft this year, you guys can see Leo Carlson there, 76 medium elite. Again, if they're like in their draft year, the game will auto-generate X factors for them in the draft, but if they're already drafted, that's not going to happen. Kiva Hardrew here, of course, could go number 1, 2024. He's only a 61 with medium elite, so I find he usually ends up being like a low 70 once it comes time for the draft. So he never gets picked high enough, sometimes outside the top 10, so they really need to boost his rating up to like at least 70 something right now. Way too low. Also, too, I noticed in the Czech League here, Sala, only medium top 6, 70 overall. He should be medium elite. He's pretty much guaranteed to go top 10. And then another top 10 player here, Dalibor Dvorsky, you guys can see 69 medium elite. So that's pretty much it, guys, for the February roster review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on some of the ratings and potentials in the comment section down below. If you did, leave that thumbs up. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, hit the sub button down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.